Alright, and the next thing I did, it's really hard to show it. Basically, if you follow the axle back, you will see a shield, and that's held on by 6-point Allen bolts, and the shield will look like that once you get it off. And they're 6mm Allen bolts. The next one we do are hooking the axle to the, I guess the differential or to the trans, whatever you want to call it. And those are 12-point 10mm sockets. So I'll show you how we get to those in a sec. You have to go under the car unless you got real long extensions, which I do not. So I'm going to be doing it with just by going under the car. Alright, here's somewhat of an angle of the what you need to unbolt. Looks like there's 6 of them. This is kind of a freak thing unless you work on German cars a lot. I don't. I generally work on Japanese, so I actually had to go out and buy the socket, unfortunately. But hopefully I'll end up using it in the future as well. Okay, and I also went ahead and removed the sway bar end link there, the bottom bolt, and then I'm doing the top one as well. There's just 16mm. Just using a regular ratchet for those. I used the impact on the one down there, but it came off really easy. I didn't even need to. The top one, it's too weird of a spot to get an impact, but I still able to just get it off by hand, so hopefully you have the same results. The reason I'm doing that is because if you look, there's not really room to pull the axle out to the side once I get it undone, so that's why that sway bar link is coming off. And here's a quick little shot of why I'm changing the CV axle. The boot torn, as you can tell right there. It's been torn for a long time because the half shaft on the inside is even rusted, and normally that's obviously packed with grease so it wouldn't be rusting. So yeah, that's why we're changing them down to 1 bolt left to take off. Alright, here's just another quick shot of that CV joint right now that's out of the car. You can see the boot tore. I'm assuming it's because of the heat from the turbo. Even though it has that heat shield there, it's probably still not enough since it's very close, only a few inches away. So the boot tore. It's been torn for a long time. You can tell by the rust that even developed there, which normally that'd just be coated in grease, so it's probably been like that for quite some time. And some people just put a new, slip a new boot onto there, but at this point I wouldn't have, just because it's been gone so long that joint's probably messed up, so just went ahead and got a new axle. Alright, and here so you can kind of see what I had going on. You can see I removed the sway bar end link to give me room right there for the half shaft to pull out to the side. Basically what I did is the end where you unbolt the star bolts, I popped it off, lifted up, and pulled backwards towards the driver's side of the car. And then from there was able to come out really easy out of the spline hole here for the bearing or hub, whatever you want to call it. And then I was able to just kind of wiggle it out. There's enough room there where I didn't have to undo both sides. I've seen some write-ups online that say you need to unbolt both sides. I didn't have to here to remove it. I shouldn't have to put the new one back in, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, and here's a quick shot of the old versus the new. Just making sure the ends are the same, which they are. Lengths are the same. Up front looks the same as well. Just obviously one's brand new or remanufactured or whatever it may be. The other one looks like the OEM. So it looks like it's the right one. So now that I was able to slide it out, I'm going to go ahead and slide the new one back in. Okay, so here's another quick shot. CV axle is not bolted in, but it's just kind of resting there. So I can show you what kind of room I had to work with. Basically, right there where you see the plastic, that bends down. So I was able to bend that out of the way, get the axle up. Basically right here, I pulled the axle up and towards the driver's side. The camera angle sucks, but it's the best I can do under there. And then, kind of just, if you've ever done a half shaft, this should be pretty easy from there. Kind of wiggle, you got to do a little bit of finagling, but it's pretty simple. It only took a couple seconds to get it locked in. Okay, so here I have the new CV bolted up. It was the 6 12mm 12-point bolts are used there, and then also the 6mm hex bolts. And I put Loctite on the ones going to the CV shaft. The ones going to the shield I didn't. I just didn't really see the need for it. But yeah, you can kind of see back there, up there, the little turbo in the car, which is the reason for the heat shield. I imagine that's probably why this boot failed to begin with because it's really close to there, and obviously that emits a lot of heat. I mean, it's got the shield, but I'm sure it still gets warm on long drives and things like that. So yeah, got this part down. Now I'm just going to put the sway bar end link back on and put the axle nut in, and we're good to go. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put on the new nut that came with the CV axle. These cars, they don't have like a cotter pin or the little cutout like Hondas do where you just notch it, and torque is a To go ahead and put the sway bar end link back on, I put the top part in, didn't tighten it all the way, just got it hand tightened, or finger tight. And then the bottom one here, it wasn't lining up, so I had to push down a little bit on the sway bar. It's not much, you have to pull down, push down, and then start turning this one by hand. And now they're both started to thread in, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten this guy first. Then this one up here, it's 16mm on both. This one you'll need a open end or another ratchet on the back of it for the top one. But either way, same size, 16mm. Okay, and here's some of the tools that you need for this job. An impact wrench works. It's not necessary. You could use a breaker bar, which I have shown there. 30mm nut for the axle nut. 16mm wrench and sockets for the sway bar links. You're going to need the 12.12mm male socket, pretty much I guess it's called. You'll need a 6mm hex key as well. Some penetrating oil definitely helps. And that's basically it. Pretty basic tools needed for this job, nothing too crazy. Besides the 12-point, this guy right here, it literally took longer to go find a store that stocked that than it did to do this whole job. So keep that in mind, you might want to get that ahead of time.